I think we're in. Hello.
Yes, hi everyone.
Hello.
We're just waiting for a few more people to join and then we'll get started.
Where are people joining from? You can see we've got a few
Yeah.
people in. So I'm currently based in Cornwall in England, which is, oh, look at that, Gareth. Cheshire in the UK. Nice. Yeah, and I'm in Cornwall, rainy, grey Cornwall today. Kirsty.
Equally grey, Cotswoldsy, UK vibes.
Lovely, lovely.
Archway. Archway.
North London, right?
Oh.
That's where I used to live a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. So I think we should get started. So thank you everyone for joining. Good to hear where everyone's from as well. Today we are going to talk a bit about SentiSum and mostly about how you can improve customer sentiment, especially within support teams. Thanks for stopping the music, Gareth. That was a good fade. So yeah, basically what we're going to do is I'm going to give a quick intro to SentiSum. I'm Kirsty. I work on the project team at SentiSum. And yeah, I'm going to give you a quick intro into how SentiSum works. And then we're going to hear from Gareth. Gareth, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, I'm Gareth from a company called Hopin, which is an events tech platform. We have a partnership with SentiSum, and I've been kindly invited today to talk about how we've used SentiSum in a support operations team to improve our analytics and join forces with the product team with some amazing stories.
Amazing. Yeah. So Gareth and Charlotte.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. My name's Charlotte, and I'm part of the customer success team at SentiSum. So we'll have worked with Gareth, trying to help implement the platform, and our other customers, seeing how they can leverage their insights, improve customer sentiment, and all that kind of good stuff.
Exactly. So we're going to go through a bit about how SentiSum works. Then we're going to really dive into Gareth's story of the kind of difficulties of trying to improve customer sentiment. And then we're going to go through how this looks in the platform, how we can help. And then we're going to have another little conversation just about all the kind of benefits that automated tagging specifically has given Hopin in terms of their support and product collaboration. And then we'll open it up for some Q&As at the end. So if you have a question while we're going through, at the bottom right, you can see, so already people are using the chat, which is great. Next to it is the Q&A button. So if you press on that, you can add in your questions as we go along. So you don't need to save them for the end. Just put them in, but we'll probably get to them at the end unless we want to bring them in. And yeah, just use that. If you do happen to use the chat, then we'll look through it anyway. So let's get into it. So first of all, what is SentiSum all about? I will quickly share my screen. Okay, awesome. So what does SentiSum do? Our main goal is to really help support teams move from this kind of, let's be honest, cost center perception, where it's all kind of a little bit transactional in terms of how many tickets are we solving, etc. How long is it taking us, more into the value and growth driver of the business, because support teams talk to the customers every single day, all day. They know what's going on. They know what can improve retention. They know what can improve customer sentiment. And basically, support teams just need the right way to communicate that to the rest of the business. So we help support teams do that. And with a few cheeky automations, we can also help support teams run more efficiently as well. How does this work? Basically, what SentiSum does is it automatically tags tickets. These can be tickets, these can be customer surveys, reviews, anything where a customer is writing a complaint, question, opinion. that can all come into SentiSum. The system will analyze it using AI. So as we can see here, we're bringing in all the stuff. And then out pops some insights. So with a support ticket, for example, people may be complaining about the discount not working. And what SentiSum will do is pick up on the real specifics, saying that, say, there was a student discount failure, right? This is not through like any keyword analysis. This is totally kind of deep learning, and it's all based on the context of the ticket. And it can also pick up on different things like sentiment as well, how the customer was feeling. Why is this important? It can give you really granular, objective insights into what customers are talking about. And it can identify the drivers of NPS and CSAT. So both of these things put together means that you can talk at a level where basically your other teams, such as product operations teams, even marketing, can understand your feedback on the product, the customer communications, etc., in a really objective way. And SentiSum basically gives you that, I guess, where, maybe manual tagging in support tickets and in surveys, etc., it can be quite subjective. The reporting can take a lot of time to get these insights across, and there can be quite anecdotal evidence. So when we bring in that automated tagging, it can bring in a lot of objectivity and give us like that time to really storytell and advocate for the insights. And that means that then you're kind of talking that same language as the product and the operation teams. You've got that data to back you up in those situations. It's like backup in the form of a dashboard. So you know exactly what customers want, and this is a way to like translate that so that then you can quantify it and say, this improvement is really important because X number of customers are talking about it over this time period. And also it's affecting 15% of our VIP customers. So once you get that level of objectivity, you can then really kind of get other teams on board and move your team into the center of the retention strategy or the customer growth strategy. So yeah, that's a little bit about what SentiSum helps our customers do. I think the best thing is to also show kind of how this works in real life. So we're going to talk to Gareth in a minute. I also just wanted to bring in this example from Nick, our Director of Support at Hotjar. So basically in the last year, we've really helped Hotjar turn from manual reporting to more storytelling. So the real problem that Nick had was they kind of knew what the customer issues were. SentiSum came in, really helped quantify them, actually helped question some assumptions that the support team had, and helped reframe some certain product issues they were facing. And then they were able to go straight to the teams because these stories, as he says here, the stories were being told to them rather than them having to go through loads of conversations and trying to figure out the right conversation to pick up on to make their case. SentiSum was giving them these things, and we'll see how that works in the demo shortly. But yeah, I think this is a great time for maybe Charlotte and Gareth to talk a little bit about that journey at Hopin from kind of that manual tagging and trying to figure out how to categorize the customer insights worked, and then how they kind of brought in that in automation.
Absolutely. I love the way you said there that SentiSum's got your back. I definitely can feel that one.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kirsty. I wonder, Gareth, how do you feel then from a Hopin perspective that SentiSum does have your back? Kind of what was it like before using SentiSum? And then we can jump in a little bit of what it looked like maybe after.
Yeah, absolutely. So before SentiSum, our whole kind of journey with ticket tagging has been a bit of an epic one in this last year. So to start with, we didn't really get the balance right with tagging the issues that were coming in to the product support team. And by tagging, I mean categorizing the issues in order to be able to report on them in a general sense without having to drill into every single ticket. And you've got to strike that nice level of, if you set your categories at too high of a level, there's no real value there because you can't drill down into the product and see what the problem is. But then on the inverse, if you drill down too deep and make your categories and your tags too granular, then you just get lost in the weeds with all of that. So we went on a journey, a few workshops involving the team to kind of try and find that right balance and make sure we had like a nice nested categorized list within our customer support tooling, which is Zendesk. We built a custom field there where we could capture them and removed all of that manual typing in the tags. So we had good quality data that was consistent. And then we fed that to the support agents then, and we set it as a mandatory field. So the agents had to categorize every ticket that came in. And we got some really good insights out of that. We could work out like time spent on certain tasks, build in some heat maps, so then we could feed them back to the product team. But there was always that pushback from them, like, is this consistent? You've got so many agents. How do we know this? It's very subjective classification on there. And as much taxonomy we could use, we could never really win the argument, and there were issues under the surface that support could see, particularly around event registration. We had a problem around there. We could see it. We were having conversations with customers, but we couldn't win that argument with the product teams. And that was where SentiSum came in for us, where we were able to help out with that.
You're on mute.
That's the classic, guys. That's our one for the webinar.
Yeah.
There we go. How then, Gareth, did you feel that SentiSum helped? Was it difficult to get the product teams to listen? And if so, why? And kind of how did SentiSum change that?
So we brought in SentiSum originally. We didn't have this use case in mind when we first started. We were to start with, we were manually going through the tickets, trying to work out the sentiment, trying to work out what's going on, analyzing from a QA perspective where the agent's tagging the tickets correctly. And it's all very laborious. And you're having to dive down into the data, and it's a very question and answer related sort of process. Someone comes to you with a question, you dig around in the data and try and find an answer for it. And so you don't really get those stories and those insights that you would do. And we knew we could do better, and we knew there were better tools out there, and we eventually found SentiSum. We signed up with them, we plugged it in, and yeah, as soon as the dashboard was available, we were like, wow, so many rabbit holes to kind of dive down. And I guess it was the way that SentiSum provided the data for us. It what was it? It encouraged our curiosity, I'd like to say. With all of the data that's there, we could drill down into it. We could see the metrics, the objectives. We could read the conversations all in one place of how having to go to Zendesk. And then we could see particularly the sentiment of the customer. Are they happy when they're contacting us? Are they saying this bit's good or this bit's bad? We'd never even asked those questions of ourselves before. So it opened up a lot of opportunities, and then we kind of let it naturally evolve from there. And I could go into that later on. Once we kind of gone through the walkthrough of it, I'll show you certain things that we found particularly useful, and where we had those aha moments with SentiSum where we're like, we can do so much more with this. Now we've got these opportunities.
Awesome. My final question, just before we jump into a demo, would just be in terms of then the granularity. How did you find working with SentiSum to get that right level? Of course, you mentioned kind of going too broad, you don't get enough, going too granular, you don't really get anything useful. So how did you find working to get to that level with the team?
I feel that SentiSum got the balance better than we did, actually. So I feel that we could be less objective. We were always of the mindset that more is more. And so we struggled to kind of get away from the weeds of granularity. And we brought it up to a level, but I was never 100% satisfied with it. it could have been so much better. And then SentiSum came in, and they worked with us really well to help us categorize them, but then let the SentiSum system do its magic underneath. And they came back with a list of SentiSum tags. They were a really nice level. I have to admit, I looked at it, I was a little bit jealous, a little bit envious that kind of hadn't come up with that sort of level myself. So I was like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. These are striking the right notes for us.
Awesome. I think that's a perfect time for me to maybe share my screen and we can take a look at some of these SentiSum tags in action. So this is what, for anybody who's joined and hasn't seen the dashboard before, this is what Gareth is talking about, and this is what Hopin had at the minute. What I'm using here is demo data. So that just means this is random data designed to show you what it would look like if we were looking from the perspective of an e-commerce business. So this is the dashboard here. And what SentiSum does is it takes and uses your data to create an automated tagging system. So we can see we've got lots of different buttons here, which if you use it, or if you were to do a trial, you can play with for a little bit. But I'm looking at the month of May here, and I'm comparing it just to the previous period. And the SentiSum tags are all listed here, and you've got a few widgets to tell you, okay, what's the volume looking like this month? What's the overall? What is it compared to the previous month? How has this changed across all of the different SentiSum tags? What are the top increases and decreases over the past month? Now, this can be used for a variety of things, kind of the quarterly reports, monthly, weekly. We even send out daily digests of all of this information so that you can really keep an eye on where things are trending in real time. And as I said, it's using AI, so it's automated. There's kind of two levels of automation almost. So we have the AI automatically goes through, looks at what is the data saying, and then presents it back to you using SentiSum tags, like Gareth said. And then there's another level of automation, which I'm going to jump to in just a second. But first, what I wanted to do, I was trying to think, what is the most useful thing to share with everyone right now? And it would be, I thought would be useful, what were the top business goals of our customers last year, and how did they use SentiSum to help achieve those goals? One of the really big ones, which Gareth has already mentioned that Hopin struggled with initially, was finding and understanding key pain points at the right granularity so that you can go and feed that back to product, operations, logistics, anyone who's going to benefit from knowing where customers are struggling. So for instance, if I take a look down here and I can see in the top increases, size too small. This is a customer pain point. They're telling the e-commerce company here that they've ordered something, but the size is too small. So from here, we can then take a look and we can deep dive and see, okay, well, is this a customer expectation thing? Is there wrong documentation online detailing the sizing? Or has something changed in the production line? And that gives you that instant overview so that you can then say, I'm going to take it and run with it. Like Gareth said, go down a rabbit hole and figure out exactly what is going on with size too small. This is a summary page. If I click into this, it's going to take me to Discover, and I can do just that. I can see what are the particular issues, what are the particular products that are most affected. We can see here, bras are the ones that are being most affected. How do I know exactly what people are saying? What is the sentiment? This is all pretty negative. All of these are red here. So red means this was a negative conversation for that particular customer. And if I really wanted to see exactly what's happening, I could click onto this and read the entire conversation with the support agent and see why it has been tagged in that particular way. Another kind of business goal that people were really, really looking for, which we've discussed here already, is reducing reply times and automating communication. So the way that some customers do this is by not only seeing the SentiSum tags within the dashboard itself, but actually within their own support tool. So for instance, if you use Zendesk, you'll be able to have SentiSum tags tagged onto a ticket and pushed straight back into Zendesk, meaning that you can then route these tickets to the various teams that you have who can deal with those particular issues. Maybe it's legal, maybe it's a particular department who needs to deal with that particular inquiry, can absolutely be routed there. You can enable macros from this so that you don't even have to do anything. It can just kind of like run itself until a live agent might need to step in, or have self-serve information easier to access for customers. And then a really great example, which I will never tire of saying, is one of our customers, James Villas, actually reduced first reply time by 46% within the first few weeks after enabling that SentiSum automation. So really great success story there that you can see, and how the automation here can help to reduce those reply times.
I mean, that's a particularly useful one for us from an operations sort of perspective. Even just those few seconds save of preventing the agent from having to classify the ticket like we used to do, stacks up when you're talking about thousands of tickets a day, week, month in there. Every second stacks up in the support operations world. So anything that you can do to save the agent's time is a win in my eyes. And you're absolutely right. Just categorizing the ticket is the tip of the iceberg. From there, you can build all sorts of workflows and ticket deflections and self-serves from there. But you're seeing that data and you're saving time at the same time. So there's a kind of a double win when we realized that we could do that. We weren't even aware when we purchased the product that we were able to do that. Now we are. It's fantastic.
And I think also it's not just about like saving time on that specific ticket or whatever. It's like the support agents and your team should be really focused on the conversation that they're doing, and not all these little manual tasks like manually routing a conversation to another team. Like these things should all kind of happen automatically, the routing, the reporting, so that then what these support agents can do, a really great kind of career path as well for them and a growth opportunity, is to kind of go more into the analysis side and more of this customer storytelling to other areas of the team, be more of an SME. This is something that we're really seeing in a lot of these kind of customer growth and support teams, is promoting people from within to use SentiSum and basically do the storytelling for the team. So yeah, just wanted to flag that this is a really exciting new role that we're seeing.
Absolutely. And again, it's my philosophy within support operations team that it's my job and my duty to bend the systems as much as possible to fit the support agents rather than the other way around. We've all been there where we've had to use a clunky system or a clunky workflow or a clunky policy and adhere to it. And we sat there and wondered, why do we have to do this? Why can't we do something better? Well, this is one of those things. And support agents' time is best spent doing intuitive, creative things and using their empathy and all of their soft skills, because we can train anybody to hit a button, but a good support agent is an artist, effectively. I like to call it an art rather than the science. So taking the hard work away from them, all the boring, clicky, buttony stuff, is a win in my eyes.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important point, just that mental load that you can reduce on that boring element that anyone could do to the stuff that people are really good at, passionate about when they get into support. No, totally agree. Thank you, guys. I don't know if you'll have noticed, I was very sneaky. While you guys were talking, I changed the metric up here. So a few things that you can do within the platform. You've got various dimensions, you've got various metrics, you've got filters that you can add and kind of slice and dice the data however you want. There's a million rabbit holes that you can go down if you wish within your data. But the one that I'm focusing on right now is sentiment. And the reason being is a business goal that, I mean, so many teams have: marketing, customer success, support, even product, would be to have a positive CSAT or NPS score and increase customer satisfaction. And the sentiment that SentiSum uses is AI driven, so it can analyze the conversation and tell you whether or not that customer has positive sentiment towards the conversation that they've just had, neutral, or negative. So we calculate sentiment here by the number of positive mentions. So only 11% of the conversations here that have come through in May have a positive SentiSum tag attributed to it. Another way you could look at that is 89% had a negative or neutral sentiment. And what you can take a look at here is, well, which are the lowest sentiment topics? What am I looking at here? Stitching defects, huge problem here. How can we fix the stitching defects? Will that help to increase sentiment and as a result, satisfaction, retention, and any NPS scores and survey scores, reviews, Trustpilot reviews, things like that come through. Return policy inquiries is a really interesting one because it's an inquiry. People are not even actively doing it. They're just asking about it, but they're having a really negative experience while doing it. Why is that? Is there an opportunity for self-serve here? And something that I made earlier was a view here. So now I've got a view to say, okay, I want to see what inquiries are there? What self-serve opportunities are there for me and my team to take a look at and try and make that documentation available online so they don't have to come to support. Again, we're reducing that load on the support team by saying, hey, the documentation's here. It's really clear. It's easy to understand. You don't have to jump through hoops to get the thing that you need. And the support agent is here for those issues that where you do need that person. You do need some nuance within that conversation. So something that you can use it for. Gareth, I think you said that you used sentiment quite a bit at Hopin. Is that something that you found useful within the platform?
Yeah, it was a metric that we weren't really able to track manually. So bringing a tool like SentiSum in to kind of conduct that sentiment analysis gave, from day one, we were in a better place from where we were, and so we were instantly getting some value from it. But you were able to look at individual product areas. So with Hopin being a technology SaaS company, we're looking at individual product areas specifically around the video platform. But then you've got things like the registration and the registration pages and your different ticket types. And so you're able to split down the keywords into different areas of focus and see where people are in their journey and how they're feeling. At what point are they contacting support? And what's their mood like when they are contacting support? Are they saying, they're not necessarily always contacting customer support because they're having a good day or everything's going right for them, but you can understand their sentiment while they're doing it. Like the language, they use soft language or harsh language, not necessarily delving into the worlds of being abusive, but you can see how the customer's feeling. Are they frustrated, annoyed, disappointed? All of those sorts of emotions are kind of in there. And then we were able to feed that back to the product teams and say, hey, everything's going kind of okay over here when people are reaching out to us. They're not so bad. But over here, for this product area, they're not having a great time and they're not happy about it. And that's reflected in the language that they're using here. So maybe we need to focus our areas there. So we start to ask questions and have a seat at the table when it comes to the product development cycle. We can start sharing this objective data that backs up, like I said earlier, it's got your back. Support have got a feeling. They're your eyes and ears. They can kind of catch the trends, but SentiSum's there to have your back and back it up with objective data at the same time.
Absolutely. No, that's really great to hear. And I think something that I thought was really interesting, Gareth, from working with you guys was this very much was a Hopin tool. It wasn't something that you guys just took as a support team and were like, okay, this is us now. I know that you've been really, really proactive and pushing to get this in front of as many people as it possibly could. I think you mentioned that views were something that you used for the product team, for instance, like people who own the product. I wondered if that's something you would recommend for other people.
Absolutely, yeah. So as I mentioned earlier on, we started as this question answer sort of process where people would come to us with ad hoc requests. Hey, we think there's a problem here. Have you got any data to back it up? And you'd have to go delving down in there. There's no storytelling. You just kind of following a process. And this was after SentiSum came in. We were using SentiSum to answer the questions that people were coming to us, and then we got to thinking between us, well, why don't we just kind of cut this off upstream? Instead of all of these product managers coming to us, which was who was asking us, they wanted to inform their kind of development cycle, and so would ask us the questions. We were like, let's just bring them into SentiSum. Let's bring them all together, do an enablement session, show them how it all works and what they can do with it, and then let them go and find their own data. Let them go and fall down their own rabbit holes. But how do we control that? And so using the views was the one thing that we used in there. And so the work that we did was we broke down and created a load of separate views, and we took all of the SentiSum tags and grouped them up. So, for example, we're primarily a video platform in our products, and so if we take some video related issues, so you've got glitchy videos, bad audio, can't connect your microphone, your camera's not working, for example, we can group all of those up together and create a view, and then save that view in there and give it a name. And we can say video platform issues, and then say it's about ticket and registrations. Okay, my invite link isn't working. I can't upload a CSV of all my attendees in there to bulk invite them. Let's group all of them up and create a separate view called registration issues in there. And so then our product managers come in, and we essentially gave them an area of responsibility in SentiSum. We said, you take this, for example, the size report. That's your view. Those are your issues. Go and find your stories. But at least if you fall down the rabbit hole, you're falling down a rabbit hole that's relevant to you and your team on there. As kind of a generalist with the support team, we were looking for trends in there, but because we're looking at the whole scope, we could quite easily fall down the rabbit hole and kind of defocus ourselves. So we eliminated those ad hoc questions. We gave the product managers responsibility. They were able to inform their decision cycle in terms of what to focus on in their next product development sprint, and focus it on the customer. So we're a product-led company instead of a sales-led company, for example. So SentiSum, in a way, kind of completely transformed the conversation between the support team and the wider business as well, because it wasn't just product looking at this. We had the C-suite having a look into this as well, because they could hold people accountable, made people accountable, and also it enhanced curiosity in there. And all of a sudden, the customers coming first in there. So honestly, it's a fantastic sort of voyage of discovery getting SentiSum.
Awesome. Thank you, Gareth. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and maybe see if we have any questions.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I love like the idea of the kind of switch of like, okay, it's support asking other teams for help with this issue, or like maybe teams asking support for all the data, and like support has to do kind of all the work, to then like actually, you know, if you're a project team and you're working on a certain issue, you need to have all that data and information at your fingertips to figure out the right way to do it. And you're the team that should be accountable for maybe even like decreasing those ticket numbers. Like that's a metric that's always on support teams. It's like, how can we reduce the ticket numbers? How can we deflect? Like these are customers who have issues and it's better if they don't have that issue. So it's definitely cool to see that like kind of, yeah, shift more to the project team in terms of that accountability. That's great.
Absolutely, and it was a shifting of the responsibility as well. And you're right, sending it upstream to the product teams. It just got rid of all of those kind of, not annoying, but those ad hoc requests that would come in and occupy your time. Give this better tool to the product managers so they can go on their own voyages of discovery with their own influences in there, and then it's just taking tasks away from people. I'm a big believer, if you have to do something more than so many times, you need to either automate it or optimize it or delegate it. So yeah, that certainly was a tool that helped us. And then it's all of the extra data. I don't think we touched on that as well. So we brought some extra data in from Zendesk. So we're tracking the time that the agents spend on the tickets in there, and also the customer satisfaction. So you can actually see the CSAT scores in the conversations in SentiSum, and then also you can bring in this extra data like the time. So we could see, well, what was the poor sentiment where an agent took a particularly long time to handle a ticket. Well, that's a complex issue. If an agent's taking ages to deal with it, then we can't optimize it. We can't deflect it with a help center article. The only resolution is to push that back up to the product team and fix the product. So there's obviously a problem there that neither the customer nor the support agent can handle. So we've got to design it better. Either it's more usable or that feature's just bad and we need to get rid of it. But at least we can find those stories in there and send them to the right places.
That's such a great point about bringing in other metrics as well, because like bringing in that like time taken to solve a ticket, like that, plus the volume of the tickets really like measures that impact then of how long is the team spending on these tickets. And also one thing that I love that you guys do is bring in that customer segment data, what plan they're on, what kind of customer are they to you, so that you can really weight kind of who is this affecting the most as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You remember it better than I. So, just for context, we wanted to understand because we've got different personas within the platform. So, we've got attendees who are attending and viewing and enjoying the events. You've got the organizers who are building the events. You've got hosts or guest speakers that are coming in. And then you've also got sponsored virtual expo booths, for example. Each one of those uses a separate section of the platform, and each of them have a separate experience. And so the executives may hear word on the street, okay, we're hearing that attendees are having a bad time at our events, or that our sponsored expo booths are having a bad time. What can you tell us about that? In the past, we would have to go and manually build a report, dive in and work it all out. Now with SentiSum, we just check the manual tag of the attendee. Sorry, the persona is an expo booth, and then all of a sudden all of the data is filtered out and we can see the sentiment, the experience, the journey, the different product areas that they're touching. It's all useful in there, and you can send that across to the relevant team just to kind of, because I know I'm talking on a very sort of SaaS level of things, but if we take it to like a retail, like the clothing line that you had there in your demo, you've got your sizing and sourcing department, you've got your logistics, your warehouse managers all in there, are your designers. You can bring them all in to the product and give them responsibility, just like we did as well. Right, okay, logistics issues, returns, like our returns department, let's give them focus in there and deal with all of that. Sizing, everything that's too small, too large, or there's stitching issues like you had there, give that to the sourcing and design team, because there's problems there for them to deal with. So you can divvy up all of these SentiSum tags to separate areas of responsibility and kind of share the load and all go on a voyage of discovery together, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I used to work at this e-commerce company, and I didn't work in support in that role, but I was talking to someone from support and they were like, oh, I just wish we could like, you know, tell the buying team about this particular range that's like getting all these issues. And like, and then maybe they wouldn't like, you know, renew it the next time. And it's like support teams have all this innate knowledge. They just need like the right way to channel it and like tell it. And yeah, definitely.
It gets a bit tiring knocking on all of those doors, I imagine, as well. Hey, I've got a
Yeah.
story to tell you, and nobody wants to listen to you.
Yeah.
You could just give them one platform and say, do you know what? Go find your own stories. These are the things you need to look at. These are the tags that we've built for you. Go and
Yeah,
find your stories. But all of a sudden now you're accountable because you've got to make those numbers go down because you've got objective data attached to it.
that's so true. No one wants to see support coming with a problem that then you've built the product wrong.
Guys, I've just highlighted a question from Rose. Can the platform be configured to route tickets to specific agents or teams based on the contact reason tag or customer sentiment?
Yes.
I can pick that one up if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
I guess that's routing back out from, it's coming in, so the ticket's going into SentiSum. SentiSum's doing its magic, and then it's filtering back in. So if you've got a platform, and I've talked from experience, so with Zendesk, for example, if you've got a custom field, then you can use that custom field in a trigger or an automation to route it to the right department. So if you've got a specific product issue or category that you want to send to a relevant team, then absolutely. But SentiSum's done that hard work of like triaging the ticket for you. It sits over the top of the ticket creation cycle and then categorizes it, and then you just push it down whatever pipe you want. But it's giving you that lever to pull essentially because the data's there.
Yeah, exactly. It's great for like teams where you have specialized agents in certain fields. So yeah, within SaaS, if you have different tiers or different product areas and support teams are attached to those, then yeah, it's great to like route those. It's also good to identify those really like high priority tickets coming in. So not all tickets are kind of equal in that way. Like someone could be really angry about a really kind of frictionful bug and you want to get them to the right person like straight away so that they can be answered first, maybe before someone who's just asking like a more neutral question about how something is working. So yeah, I think those are the kind of main things. Using the triggers can really help, especially within say somewhere like Zendesk. You can use those tags however you want. One of our customers at the moment is using them to automatically answer, like Charlotte said, with some macros. So when a ticket is coming in, SentiSum tag gets applied in just a couple of seconds. And then that trigger can then, I'm always like, that trigger gets triggered. The action gets triggered. And then that macro can be sent to the customer straight away. So yeah, lots of possibilities with Zendesk and other help desks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's that two-way link between the two platforms. It's not just piping data from your customer platform into SentiSum. SentiSum can loop back in as well. And when we discovered that, we were like, oh, all the light bulbs went off for me personally.
Awesome.
Rose, I'm going to mark that as answered, but please, if you have any follow-ups, do drop them in. We've got another anonymous question here. How does SentiSum impact customer service metrics such as resolution time or first contact resolution rate?
Yes. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Just like, I have to like say those metrics to myself for some time. Cool. So yeah, I mean, James Villas is a great example here where like, again, they had, not SaaS, not e-commerce, their travel with all the nice villas. I'm sure we've seen the adverts. And yeah, basically they had a lot of, they sort of had a semi-automated workflow in place. So they were doing their best. But then when they brought in SentiSum, they were able to automatically tag conversations based on the customer journey. So not even the problem they were having, although they do that as well. But in addition, they were saying this person is at the booking stage, or this person is actually in the villa and they have a problem, right? So when a customer is in the villa and having a problem, that is a very highly emotive situation. If I was having a problem on my holiday, I would rage. So also these tickets need to be answered really quickly by the right people as well. So this is where the SentiSum tags come in Zendesk or any other help desk. It's Zendesk in this scenario. And basically routed them to the right team straight away. There was no time lag there. So that then, yeah, they could get dealt with by the right person. Not like say there wasn't a team that kind of replied to them first and then had to transfer it. It was just straight to the right team. And then that meant that as well as their first reply time going down, their whole resolution time went down as well. So it's much more efficient. And then of course, when these metrics go down, your CSAT goes up as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It kind of involves you in your support team from a first in, first out ticket mentality to prioritizing based on that customer journey. And you're absolutely right. If I was in the villa and something was wrong, I would lose my mind as well. So you want to jump all over those tickets, but if it's just sat in a queue of 100 tickets waiting there and it's no better than anything else, all of a sudden you've got a head start over where you were at because you're triaging them on there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Yeah.
sorry.
Go
I was
on.
just going to add some stats to your James Villa. Sorry, Kirsty. So the first reply time reduced by 46%. Resolution time decreased by 51%, which is incredible. And then as a result, customer satisfaction increased by 11%.
Yeah. Maybe
And that was within the first few weeks.
Yeah. Maybe let's drop the link in the chat and then people can read that one. So someone has also asked the question, which types of data does SentiSum need? So SentiSum can work with basically any type of data. Oh my god, the shaking screen again. Is everyone seeing this? So yeah, basically SentiSum can work with any kind of data where your customer is writing down their, their feelings on something, they're reporting something. So it could be a support ticket, it could be a NPS survey, CSAT survey. If you have a lot of CSAT responses, it's great to then get them in the dashboard and see, okay, what are our saying about our agents, but also what project issues are impacting our CSAT and are not related to the support we're giving. So CSAT analytics, NPS reviews, App Store reviews, Trustpilot reviews, support tickets, voice calls, anything where a customer is talking or writing. And then you can get, like we saw, those really easy to understand dashboards where everything can come into the one place. And yeah, you can have as little or as much as you want. Awesome. Thanks for all the questions. They were really interesting. Oh, one more. Yes, you can create custom topics. So we have SentiSum tags, and then you can also create your own DIY tags as well. So these are really good for basically, maybe you've got a product release coming and kind of that feature name, how it's going to be described. And you've got, like, say, for example, one of our customers had, this is very simple, they just had like their new website format coming on. And they were about to go live with it. And so they created a custom DIY topic around new website, new UI. And then straight away, as they turned it on, they could see the big jump in talking about new websites. And they could also see then the sentiment go down. And they could then understand, like, what were the issues that people were having and get straight to those. And that means that then you have a much quicker response time to this, rather than, again, like relying on agents to search through Zendesk or any other help desk and like pick out conversations about this new area. It's so difficult to do that like retroactively, I guess. So yeah, thanks. I hope that answered the question.
I think the biggest win for me was just not having to troll through endless CSV walls of text, trying to read it and find a topic for somebody. I've done that too many times. I'm too old for that sort of stuff. So SentiSum certainly saved my sanity in that respect.
Yeah,
I think we can all relate to that one.
definitely. AI can do really cool things, and then it can also do really amazing things, which is make you spend less time in CSVs.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So thanks everyone for your questions. That's been really interesting. And thank you so much, Gareth and Charlotte, for a really interesting conversation.
Anytime. Happy to join in.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
So yeah, if you want more kind of information, you can go to our website, sentisum.com. We've got a free trial on as well. So you can literally just sign up, integrate, check out what we're all about. You can speak to us if you want. You don't have to speak to us. You can just integrate, see what happens. So but please do reach out if you kind of want to know more as well. I'm always happy to help. So yeah, thanks everyone, and have a great Wednesday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.